All right, Mr. Bluud, is this the match before the actual match of Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre? We're talking about Saturday night's main event, November 1st. This is the second match coming out of WrestlePalooza 2 months beforehand. Is this the actual match where the deed goes down, or is this setting up something bigger at, say, Survivor Series?
I'm going to honestly say that I think that this entire match is a time waster and just the means to fill a slot on a Saturday night's main event that most people fucking forgot was even happening until 2 weeks ago. Because let's be 100% honest here. This match is happening for multiple reasons. One, Jacob Fatu is injured for undisclosed reasons that were not wrestling related, according to reports. That stops and completely halts his entire feud with Drew. Now they need something for Drew to do. Now, keep in mind, there were further plans, most likely for Cody, involving with Seth and the Vision before Seth's unfortunate injury during their match back at Crown Jewel in Perth, where he injured himself, I believe, in the coast-to-coast headbutt spot when he landed clean on his shoulder, and then exacerbated it when he took a super crossroads from the top rope. Awesome, by the way, but on the same shoulder he took that bump. This forces them to have to change trajectory of everything because we know we were building to a War Games match. And the original War Games lineup, from what we understand from reports, was most likely supposed to be the Vision with the additive of Brock Lesnar and a returning Austin Theory versus the bloodline of some sort with a thrown in either Cody or Jey Uso, or not Jey Uso, but CM Punk or LA Knight on the opposite side, lining up with the Usos and Roman Reigns. We now know Seth's injury changed everything. Not only did his injury stop that story from progressing the way it was meant to, they're saying we might not even get the War Games match between those people anymore. It might have to be a completely different War Games match, or it might get scrapped altogether.
Just scrap it.
And two, because I don't know about you, I don't need to see the fucking Wyatt Six versus the MFTs in War Games. I really don't. I don't even need to see it on Friday Night SmackDown. But I digress. It means that everything on SmackDown changed too. So because Cody's involvement is no longer needed or necessary without Seth present, because that's where the crux was, mainly because Seth cheated to win. It wasn't going to stop there, but because of the injury, it had to stop. So now you've got to say, hey, Cody, go out there on Friday Night SmackDown, cut a promo about having to move on, and that we'll come back down the road and meet each other eventually. We always do in this business. You never stop crossing paths, and just pushed on. Now we find out that Jacob's injured too. Now you've got two people who have nothing to do, Cody and Drew. So what do? You run back a match they just had a couple months ago. Now, aside from the fact that we had a whole match to determine who would face Cody, we then find out that because Jacob is injured, as I predicted on our podcast the week prior, I said it won't even be a match. Watch. Jacob will get beat down backstage by somebody, if either Drew or someone else, and they will call the match off before it even begins. Watch. It's exactly what happened, only here was a surprise shock. Now we've got Cody coming in going, okay, well, guess what? We don't need a contendership. Let's do the match right now. So in his Sunday best, Cody, invited to the cookout, Raheem Rhodes, decides to go down to the ring in his Sunday best with his jacket off and get into a brawl with Drew. Was it for the title? Based on what Cody said, it probably, or based on what Cody had said ahead of time, we don't need a number one contendership match to have this match. Let's do it now. Sounds to me like that was a title match. But the problem is it took forever for the fucking bell to ring. We never had an official weigh-in of the title match. So who knows? Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. They brawl, they beat the shit out of each other. And then my white meat babyface, in a really bad piece of booking on the same episode of SmackDown, they told us that WWE had overhauled the SmackDown writing team and that it was going to start getting better and be cohesive. They had a really strong show and then ended it with the dumbest shit ever, where our white meat babyface, Cody Raheem Rhodes, literally fucking takes the easy way out and title smacks the heel to retain his championship. Now, here's the problem. In the entire time we've seen Cody be champion, we have never seen him take an easy way out. We've never seen him cheat. The dumbest piece of this booking is the fact that Cody asked for the match to happen now and then took the easy way out to end it. That's where I think it's stupid. So that, of course, leads to Drew bitching and moaning to where we get this at Saturday night's main event in Salt Lake City, Utah on November 1st, this upcoming Saturday. And here we are. Not because we needed to be here, but because they needed somebody to fill the spot for Cody, because a match for that event was already advertised with the title on the line. And who on earth is going to challenge for it? If Jacob is out, you've got freaking Damian Priest, another main eventer you built up all last year that's now in the mid card. He's in a feud with Aleister Black that is meaningless. Randy Orton, nowhere to be seen on and off for weeks, even though he was apparently supposed to be turning heel on Cody at some point. That's halted, so they're probably saving that. But who else on SmackDown in the men's main event division could possibly go up against Cody right now where it would make sense? Raw's hoarding the biggest other male opponents he could have, aside from the three men I just fucking mentioned, one of them being Drew McIntyre. So you're left with a match that has to happen just because Cody needs someone to fight asterisk mark. And that's it.
Yeah.
Cody's not losing here. Even though he had apparently asked to lose, he had asked to lose in their last match. Reports said that he and Drew had both gone to management and asked the writers team, the creative team, if they could have Randy Orton come in to try and attack Drew in help of Cody, cost Cody by accident, and then actually have Drew beat Cody for the title because of Randy. Then they also had pitched that the story would go that Drew would hold it for a while until Cody got it back from Drew, and then Randy would turn heel on Cody then. That is what Randy, Cody, and Drew all pitched to Triple H and Bruce Pritchard, and they were told no. So now we're here again at this match. And my only question is, if you wouldn't do it then, is it possible, just possible, that so they have something newsworthy to write the books off with? Does Randy Orton come out to cost Drew the match and accidentally costs Cody, and the title switches hands this Saturday?
Perhaps, but newsworthy wise, I think he's vulnerable to Jade, and then you're going to crown a new world heavyweight champion as well. So this is like newsworthy wise, this would not get lost in the shuffle because it would be the most shocking, but it's not really necessarily needed. That's why I'm a little confused why we're getting this as well. Just because Drew McIntyre in this iteration, I don't want to call him dull and boring because I think Drew is immensely talented and interesting, but I just feel that he's a little cold. Cody Rhodes in this iteration, white meets babyface, like you said, I don't want to call him cold and not interesting, but he's just a little dull coming out of the John Cena match at SummerSlam, which was phenomenal. And you think that he would maybe garner some momentum coming out of it, but he didn't. John Cena kind of bigfooted him, and John Cena's end of John Cena's career just seems bigger than Cody Rhodes, the world champion right now. Right. So it's just like there's two guys that are at a crossroad. This is somewhat of a fresh matchup, but it just doesn't feel it in a way. Are they building up steam to get us to feel that way? Or like you said, are they having road bumps in that road and we're just kind of being like, we'll just have to do this? I don't feel that this card needs necessarily this match. So there has to be a reason why it's here, because like we said, CM Punk versus Jey Uso, big match. Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton, a potential title change. So it's not like we need a title change or a big match here at Saturday Night's Main Event. And it's a Peacock version. It's not like it's a ESPN version, right? So it's like, why is this here? Is what I'm saying. It's to move a story. What is the story?
I agree as well, because for me, you could say it's one of two things, because you're right. Cody did not get the momentum he needed out of SummerSlam. And I think you're right. Yeah, John Cena's retirement match, his babyface subsequent returning into a babyface, was just the bigger deal. Yeah. But also, it comes down to, we just had Jade turn heel on Friday Night SmackDown against Tiffany Stratton.
Correct.
You can do a title change between those two just to justify the heel turn mattering.
And give that some life.
Exactly. Because let's be honest, Jade and Tiffany has not been working, for at least for me, for months.
It's been made at best.
I think Tiffany has been a terrible champion. I think she was pushed too quick. I don't think she's been ready. I don't think Jade's ready either. I think Jade and her are both different shades green of baby shit. But
That's the title change we'll get. Why are we here for this one? That's
for
the intriguing part.
For this one, I'm confused because I would imagine if you're going to do anything big with this match, ESPN's going to be pissed if you don't do it on one of their PLEs. Why do a massive Cody Rhodes title change on Saturday night's main event on the previous network that held your stuff that only still has a deal to air your events on Peacock for Saturday night's main event until 2027? You're going to do some massive angle on the guy you just left us for's show, but not save it for November 29th at Survivor Series. Yeah. So if they aren't going to do that, one has to beg the question, is this just going to be a straight up normal one-on-one match? Cody wins, lull. More ref shenanigans possibly, maybe an interference. Who knows? Could we at least have Randy turn heel on him after the match if like Drew beats him down or something afterwards and tries to get a pound of flesh? Randy comes out, looks like he's going to help Cody, but then actually helps Drew and RKO's Cody. Something to set something else up. I feel like if it's just, hey, this match is happening, who fucking cares? We just saw it on SmackDown. We just saw it a couple weeks ago or a month or two ago. What was it? Where was the last time they faced each other? WrestlePalooza?
WrestlePalooza. And it was a fine match, but it was like a letdown because the finish was just, that's what it was.
Exactly. And this is now the third time this year we've had this.
Oh, and one counts, but yeah, it was a match, right? Yeah.
Well, the one on Friday was sure as shit a match, and based on what Cody had said, it was apparently a title match. And based on what Drew had said this past Friday, it was a title match. So now we've got a third title match. Subsequently, if we count the second one, which it kind of feels like they are at least, and Cody's promo lead previous week led to that. It's like, so you guys have done 3 matches in a matter of a month and a half. And it's like, dude, did we need it? No. And of all the trilogies Cody's had, this is the weakest. I'm sorry. I would have said that it would have been the Brock trilogy 2 years ago, but this is weak. And you know, it's like, if it's there, it better not be the main event. I'm sorry. You need to put Jay and Punk in the main event spot because to me,
title, it should be, yeah.
In the World Heavyweight Championship hanging in the balance is a much more interesting story than whatever has been going on with the undisputed titles since Cena lost it. Let's just call a spade a spade. Yeah. Cody is not a boring champion. His booking has been boring.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel like Cody, like I said, I double down on that, and I'll double down what I said earlier. Cody Rhodes is not the problem. He just feels cold.
Yeah.
He should not turn heel. Like he's perfectly fine in this role. It's just like he's getting a little big-footed by John Cena perception-wise. And Drew McIntyre, who is always clamoring on to stay relevant as that character, always clamoring around to bitch about something.
Yeah.
Just really needs to cash that anger and bitch in because he did that whole thing with Punk. He was the loser. He was even the loser against Damian Priest in that cage match to go away. Then he came back, refocused, energized, with title in his eyes.
And then somehow winds up in a celebrity tag match at SummerSlam. You know?
Was kind of decent.
Which was, by the way, I'm a huge defender of that match.
Pretty good.
The only issue I had with that match that I had said in our review of that match was that I felt like Randy and Drew had amazing years last year.
Yeah.
And Drew specifically had feud of the year with 80% of the work being done by him. And a year later, what a difference a year makes. The man is somehow flopping between mid-card and main event on SmackDown, which is the B show. And it's like, and the thing is, he was just randomly moved over to SmackDown this year, as was Damian Priest. And, you know, they were both on Raw. They were 2 of the biggest stars on Raw a year ago. So I feel like WWE is in a holding pattern because they're waiting to find out what the hell they're going to do with the Vision stuff. They're waiting to see what their Survivor Series looks like, waiting to see what the end of the year looks like. They're also probably focused more on John Cena's last match and who they're going to make that. So I just feel like they have so many irons in the fire, so many pots on the stove. They are letting other pots go cold on simmer while they are trying to figure out how to make other pots boil over. And unfortunately, Cody and Drew are in the same pot that is on simmer and has been sitting there without any heat to it or their runs for the majority of this year for a while. So I don't know. It's unnecessary. Will it be a good worked match? Of course it will be. Look at the guys in the ring. Did you freaking need it here? No.
I'm curious. This is Drew's third Saturday Night's Main Event in a row. He had the blow off of the cage versus Priest. He lost to Randy Orton at when Jelly Roll and Logan Paul, it was kind of like a roll-up fluke thing, and then they got their heat back on Jelly Roll right before SummerSlam in like July-ish, the Goldberg one, right? And then they are here now, 5 months later. There hasn't been a Saturday Night's Main Event in between, so perhaps he's a guy that maybe Peacock likes. Maybe perhaps a guy he's opened the last two, so maybe he does decent numbers and they portray him to maybe want to present him here. I'm personally not interested in the match, but I'm interested in the why. I'm interested in the why.
I agree. That's a perfect way to put it, Ryan. I'm interested in the potential angle that could come out of this if they did something to subvert expectation, surprise us with something. Randy here, something there. Maybe the title does switch hands, and because it's on a Saturday Night's Main Event, an unassuming Saturday Night's Main Event, no one expects it, and that's exactly why they do it. But at the same time, if it opens good, start strong, but I desperately feel like it's undeservedly potentially the match they're going to try to steal the thunder out from Jay and CM Punk's match, which I think deserves it and has earned it more, because there is an actual real story with the World Heavyweight Championship, and has been for a couple months now, with this group on Raw circling that title and their climb for it. Drew and Cody just feel so thrown together that the match is neither here nor there. It's not going to matter. What's going to matter is, why the fuck is the match happening, and why do I need to watch it by the time it's over?
Yeah. All right, let's talk quality-wise real quick, right? So Drew versus Cody at WrestlePalooza. It felt like it got to a point where it never got into that, like, let's say, fourth gear.
I agree.
They got to that third gear. We're still cruising. We're still doing well, but are we missing the story to get to that fourth gear? Are they not? Do they know that they have the finish that they have, and they have other matches to get to? So they do like the old school thing where they kind of don't give us that 8th and 9th round performance to get us to that 10th round crescendo. But it just feels that they never got there. But I do say some aspects of that SmackDown match that you referred to earlier had the vitriol and the anger or whatever, but the context was just misplaced and confusing, like you said as well. So the investment wasn't fully there in that SmackDown thing. So they've shown the chemistry to kind of go out there and get us to that main event level that Cody has shown that he has with a plethora of other guys. And of course, Drew has shown as well too. So it's like, I don't question their chemistry in ring together. I'm just waiting for them to build up to it. And perhaps this is like, let's just say this is that 7th inning heading into the 8th and the 9th for the next match. I think that they're going to give us the vitriol, even though this feud is a little weird too, because the Fatu gap, the Crown Jewel gap as well. And that first inning that we had at WrestlePalooza, right? It was a little like I said earlier, 3rd out of 5th gear too as well. So whenever that crescendo is, I do feel that these two will have the chemistry and the story to get there. But then again, is this the night to do it? The whole thing is, like we've had theme wise, confusing. What do you think of their overall chemistry and ring wise?
Overall chemistry, they're great. I agree with you, though. They were missing something at WrestlePalooza. I feel like Drew's best matches, his best performances, always come from a place where the rivalry is extremely personal or becomes extremely personal. Him and Punk, take that for example. The longer that feud went on, the more personal it got, and it resulted in one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches I've ever seen. Yeah. Him and Damian Priest got personal, more and more personal over time, resulted in one of the best steel cage matches I've seen in the last 10 years on WWE TV. Until Jesse the Body Ventura shit all over the finish live on TV and ruined it for everybody.
He hasn't been back since, right?
Thank God. I wonder why. And then, it's just like, I feel like because of how their momentum got so fucking stop-started ever since before the actual, before Crown Jewel, before all that, it stop-started. It feels like they fast-tracked to the personal, and that's what Friday was supposed to be. It was basically what I guess you could kind of lean towards a ginormous pull-apart brawl, but with an official stamp of a match on it, is what that whole thing felt like. Just a giant, brawl all over the place, but with the staple of, hey, this is a title match. Last minute, Friday Night SmackDown. Cody's in his streets. Drew's ready in the ring. And let's just let them build as much anticipation for this match. Let them get as aggressive as possible to really sell the rest of the match, with one Friday Night SmackDown to go to really drive home the sell of butts and seats for that match. But it's just like, it's only one entire evening in the span of 20 minutes where you really actually got somewhere to the gear you needed to be. But then it's now the cool off. And now we need to see what happens on this Friday. And if you ask me, if you were going to do what you did on that Friday, you should have saved something like that, really, in my opinion, for in the go home show, to really ramp up that last minute excitement, because that match between them was what, this Friday before last. Then you had this past Friday, and then now we have this Friday. It's like, dude, you guys you're not, there's no cohesion in the pacing of this feud, because big, giant, epic moment 2 weeks ago does not make me go, God, I can't wait to see that show 15 days from now, while I still have 2 shows in between to see how you might fuck it up.
Yeah. To the benefit, as you were talking, it kind of sprung in my mind, 2024 at this time, Cody Rhodes was like starting to get immersed into his Kevin Owens feud, and that boiled over. I believe they had a very similar match, or I want to say Clash in France was their first match.
I think it was France, yeah.
Similar to the timeline of WrestlePalooza. They had, I think, a December Saturday night's main event, maybe in November here. And then maybe they had the Rumble blow off. So maybe this blows off at Saturday night's main event in December, or maybe even blows off at Survivor Series, even though that would feel a little early. Or they stretch it out to the Royal Rumble, which I don't think they have enough juice to, but we'll see. But you have 2 overhanging factors. You have a Randy Orton, like we flirted around. And you mentioned earlier Fatu's tooth, right? It's a wisdom tooth. It's 6 to 8 weeks. Thank you, Tama Tonga's mom, for giving us the info on the down low there. And I don't think there's anywhere on the timetable. But I bring that up is November time, end of November time, Fatu will be back around, lingering around here. And whoever took him out, maybe that is to subvert him away from this feud, or maybe that is to kind of keep him within this feud. So all that being said, prediction times, Saturday night's main event. Is it time for Drew McIntyre? Keep in mind the WrestlePalooza pitch, where it's like, get me this belt off Drew. Believe the facts, yet left or right, how detailed, how true, who knows, right? But I felt at the Palooza, it would be a really shocking time to have a moment that you remember. And that match was missing a moment. Yeah, like I said, you had a baseline good to very good match, but it was missing the moment in the heat. They're subverting the moments in the heat, and it's time. Do they insert the moment here as they've been inserting the heat? Is the moment now to pull the trigger here?
Better late than never, I guess. I mean, and that's the thing about the WrestlePalooza. You're right. It was missing something. The reason that show wasn't high on a lot of people's radar outside of 2 of the matches, mainly the mixed tag match, was because Cody and Drew needed something that could have put that show over the top. It would have been remembered forever. Yeah. And a massive heel turn or an accidental costing of the undisputed title of Cody onto Drew a month right after Cody just got it back would have been crazy.
Yeah.
And if you do it here, it needs to be done right. That would be the only instance where I would say it needs to be in the main event over Jay and CM Punk to close the show on that moment, to really put it all over, and then force people to wait a whole week until Friday again, where they'll be clamoring to tune in to see what happens next. That's the only instance where I would say in my prediction, I lean towards that.
Okay. Is this the time? I say no. I think we get shenanigans, or we get like a roll up, and I think it's a little long in the tooth for Drew to keep complaining, but I understand it's a part of his characteristics. And getting slept on a banana peel, or having Randy Orton cost him, or maybe even Fatu cost him, right? In some weird way.
If they do it at all, it better be this Saturday to just pull the trigger while it's still fresh, while it still people would care about it. because of what's going on. But I'm leaning towards Cody retains because I think you just put it back on him in fucking in August or whatever the fuck it was. So like August 2nd. So like, you know, like he could be champion through Christmas at least. Let the kids be happy to buy some WWE toys. Like, and I mean, you want to take it off of them right before Mania at the Rumble, or hell, the Elimination Chamber, have him defend it in the Chamber and lose it. I mean, I can't remember the last time we actually had a world title in the Chamber. It's been mid-card titles and tag titles, or this year's number one contendership for if you win. So if you ask me, keep it on him for now.
I'm just going to play the numbers game and pick Cody as well. You're going to get a new world heavyweight champion, perhaps. You know, I think there's a lane where you don't, and then I do think Jade is going to win. So
I do too.
You do have your two big moments. I don't think we need a third on a Saturday night's main event, right?
It's like what, like 2-hour show? Like, you know, it's like what, 5 matches on a card, typical Triple H, you know, PLE card, and it's not even a PLE, it's a glorified house show.
Yeah, and this one
doesn't need that many moments. Do you have any idea how many people got rid of their Peacock because of the boycott for Jimmy Kimmel? A bunch of people are not about to just go back to paying, you know, $10.99 or $13.99 just so they can watch this again. So there's no need to do too much on a show that's probably not going to be a very highly viewed show, because it's only on Peacock, because NBC no longer wants it multicast streamed to Peacock and NBC at the same time. So it's just on NBC or just on Peacock only.
Yeah.
So you don't need to do a bunch of shit, because if you ask me, the majority of fans are just watching the YouTube highlights.
Yeah. I do see a lane where Drew McIntyre is your world champion, but I just would see it at Survivor Series. No,
I see it at a bigger show too. And I think you're 100% correct there, Ryan. Bigger show. That moment deserves a bigger show.
Well, Bluud, we'll see the why here at Saturday night's main event. But tell us why Snug Wrestling has been rocking and rolling of late. Give us a plug, and why should they listen?
You guys should listen to us because we are a 3- and 4-man panel where we are just pumping out wrestling content. But it's not just, you know, your average, you know, mom and pop, you know, wrestling channel. Much like No So Wrestling, it's a channel where it's fun, but you also get to think about the things. We break things down. I'm the lead analyst, and you're going to tune in for funny moments, funny characters, very, very great analysis by all parties included. But you also get a sense of, you have different age groups, right? So our 2 youngest members are 16 and 22. And then our oldest members are me, 31, and Snug, who's 33, 34. So you have gaps of wrestling fandom. So you get different opinions based on where we are in our fandom. And I think that's what makes us unique. It's not just a bunch of us in the same age all saying the same shit. Yeah. But if you guys do want to catch us live, Monday and Friday night after Raw and SmackDown go off the air, live post-show reviews every Monday and Friday. Also, bonus content for reaction content during the actual live programs. Thursday night, one-on-ones on TikTok live at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with myself and the head of Snug Wrestling, Edgar. We also do AAA reviews in Spanish. And this Wednesday, you can catch us for our prediction videos over there as well on Apple and Spotify for this weekend's event for Saturday night's main event. And you can always stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug with us at Snug Wrestling.
Hey, well, let's go out on your guys' outro. So, Snug, it was awesome as always, and we'll see you sooner than later, buddy.
Thank you.